rehabbing is for suckers. This, I promise you.
Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo.
Why you should never rehab a house and do this instead. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and welcome to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. Now, if you have not been to our site, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, I have the No Limits map. This is the massive action plan. And whether you're trying to do your first deal or you're trying to grow your business to 6 or 7 figures and you want to have a machine that throws off cash month after month after month after month without your personal day-to-day involvement, go ahead and download the map, the massive action plan. That's my gift to you. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download it today. All right, so let's talk about rehabbing houses for a moment. Now, I know there is HGTV, and I know there's flipping shows, and I know those are sexy, right? A lot of people are entertained by that. They love to see the old product and the new product, and people picture themselves with that sledgehammer and, breaking down a wall and their overalls with paint on it. And there's some sex appeal to it, right? And if you look on TV, the people who are doing it, they don't have a hair out of place. They have makeup on. They have no beads of sweat on their forehead, and everything just goes to plan, right? And that's why they call it TV. Because I can tell you that rehabbing is for suckers. This, I promise you. If you are trained the way that I train you, by negotiating and selling and marketing, your money is made by finding the deal. So I want to tell you about a real life case study that really magnifies this. And I hope that you really take it to heart, okay? So recently in our business, we had a lead come in through a probate attorney, and it was a great house in a good location, and it just needed a little bit of work, right? So, there was a little bit of roofing issues. It needed paint, needed carpet, needed some flooring, and, it had some little wires hanging out of the wall and nothing crazy, but we just said, okay, you know what? We're going to buy this house. And if we buy it and if we, put some work into it, we could probably sell it for $315,000. Now, the great part is our purchase price that we negotiated with a probate attorney is $170,000. So $170,000, and we could sell it for $300,000 to $315,000, right? All fixed up. And so, our real estate agent that we're working with and our acquisition team was really pressing me to rehab this property. And so for me, I know better, right? I know our money is made by negotiating the deal and really selling them to hungry buyers who will pay the most. But every now and then I get thrown off of my principles, and I'm reminded of why rehabbing is for suckers. All right. Long story short, we started doing work on this property. This was supposed to take 2 weeks max. Famous last words. Long story short, 4 months later, right? All kinds of problems. The roof was much worse than we thought. The painting took longer. The carpet was more expensive. The new flooring wasn't right. The leak from the roof damaged the new flooring. We had to replace this weird piping that was in the attic, and our $8,000 rehab budget quickly turned into $32,000 of aggravation. All right. The money wasn't even the big part. It was the aggravation and time and 4 months. And so if you are a real estate wholesaler, your business is set up to be a marketing and sales machine. This is what we do. This is our craft. This is what we are best at. And I can tell you, in this scenario, we're still going to make $50,000 on this deal, which is great. I'm happy. But ironically, if we would have just bought this house and if we would have sold it as is, with no work, for top dollar, we probably would have made as much or more money without the 4 months, without investing another $32,000, without distracting our team, right? Who have no systems and processes for really rehabbing properties and our focus and mental energy. Okay. And so I can tell you that as a pro, as a professional negotiator, remember what your profession is. There's a great scene from the movie The 300, and there's this basically a scene in the movie where the Spartans, there's 300 of them. Okay. And if you look at the Spartans, there are 300 of the most highly trained warriors in the history of mankind. They're all ripped to shreds, right? Huge muscles, not an ounce of fat on any of these guys, weapons crafted from the finest iron, walking in sync. And they run into some of their allies on the way to a battle. And so the allies, I believe the Greeks, I don't quote me on that, who there's like 10,000 of the Greeks, right? And they look at the Spartans, and there's only 300 of them. And all of a sudden, the head of the Greeks is like, oh my gosh, like, the Spartans, you guys only have 300 people, right? And the Spartan all of a sudden laughs and looks, and the head of the Spartans looks over at the Greeks, and he points to one of them, and he goes, "What is your profession?" And he goes, "Blacksmith." And he looks at the other one. He goes, "What is your profession?" He goes, "Farmer." And then he goes, "And your profession?" Right? And he says something else like, locksmith, or I don't remember what it is, right? Wagon wheel person, right? And all of a sudden now the head of the Spartans kind of laughs, and he looks back at his own people, and he goes, "Spartans, what is your profession?" And all of them in sync go, "Oh, oh, oh." And he goes, "You see, my old friend," right? He looks at the head of the Greeks. "You see, my old friend, I brought more soldiers than you." And so nothing else needed to be said. Long story short, pretty much all the Greeks were killed in battle, and the Spartans were really the heroes of the show. And so the point of that story is really, you want to be really, really, really good at selling and negotiating. That is your profession if you're listening to this podcast, right? The fixing and the rehabbing, leave to other people. I can tell you that if you are selling your properties the right way, you can sell them for top dollar, and you're still going to leave a little meat on the bone for someone who's going to rehab this property. But it's not enough that it's worth you rehabbing. So for example, on a $300,000 house, there is a lot of people who are willing to buy that house for $240,000, $250,000, put $30,000 into that property, and then sell it and make $20,000. And so for you, I would say that's not worth it, right? Leave that up to the people who love construction, right? Who want to manage contractors and manage the landscaping and the selling process to a retail buyer, and the inspections after that to fix all those little, turnkey items that you do when you sell traditionally, right? It takes bravery and courage to say no, right? This is what I do. This is what I'm best at. This is how I make money. So you want to focus here on your core competency. I'm going to get into the lessons here. And just a reminder, we were going to make about $50K on that deal beforehand. And I'm looking back with the team, and it looks like we actually would have made more if we would have just stuck it back on the market due to all the unforeseen circumstances, right? When you start rehabbing a property and fix it and you discover it, right, you've got to, either fix those things or, disclose all those things. And so if you just sell a house as is, you're not digging in, you could sell it for top dollar without really even taking on that liability. You actually take on more liability by fixing stuff than selling as is. Remember that you make money on your negotiation, right? I know that you can make money fixing a house and doing some things, but you could also make money selling hot dogs on the side of the street, right? That's one of my famous sayings, and it doesn't mean that you should, right? You can make money doing a lot of things, but you're going to have to say no. Your number one job is to negotiate big deals, right? So you can sell as is, or if you are in our markets, right, San Diego or the Treasure Coast, you can always partner with us, and we will do those big deals with you. By the way, if you do want to partner, go to support or email, support at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, support at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, and we would love to partner with you. If you want to sell your property, you could stick it right on the MLS. You could buy and clean out, right? I don't have a problem with buying and cleaning out and getting all the garbage out. You can mow the grass and sell for top dollar, right? Again, you'll make more money, less headache, and really you're going to get your time back, which leaves me to the most important thing to remember when you're going out and negotiating deals. Remember what your professions are. You are a Spartan. You are one of the 300, right? You are not a farmer who's trying to be a Spartan. You're not a blacksmith who's trying to be a Spartan. You are a warrior, a sales and negotiation warrior. And any distraction from that, okay, is going to hurt your business. The interesting thing is that marketing and sales are everything. And if you are distracting yourself from this, you not only will you get the headache of the deal, right? Because this is not part of your systems and your processes and really the core competency of sales or marketing, you are actually giving up the opportunity on future deals. Let's say you get caught up in a 10-hour project, right? Even if you're working with your team and there's problems that are going to pop up. What if you took those 10 hours and you just laser focused in a room for one full day with no distractions on your marketing plan, right? On your doing bigger deals plan, or hiring an acquisition specialist plan, or selling the deals that you currently have for top dollar plan? You are going to make so much more money. So my lesson of the day is that rehabbing is for suckers. Do this instead, all right? Become a sales and negotiation master. Your team, your bank account, your spouse, and everyone in your circle who's going to benefit from your real estate investing will thank you. So make sure if you haven't, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com and download the map. Also on iTunes, if you have not left a review, I would really, really appreciate it. I do read them all personally. I see them and it really motivates me to do the podcast. Also, make sure to copy and paste the link to the show and send it to 3 or more of your friends, colleagues, partners who you think may need to hear it.